The Lincoln Park neighborhood in Chicago remains one of Chicago's most competitive real estate markets. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Lincoln Park this fall, you're gonna wanna watch this video as we're gonna break down what the market data is saying about the market, both for single family homes and condos and townhomes, so that you can understand if you're a buyer, what you need to do to be prepared in order to be competitive in this market. And if you're a seller, how you can price your property accordingly with this data in order to get a great sale at the highest price in the fastest period of time. So let's go over to my screen now and take a look at the fall real estate market update for the Lincoln Park neighborhood in Chicago. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan Pyle, your go-to Chicago real estate agent. My team and I have been servicing the city for the last 12 years, and we'd be absolutely honored to help you achieve your real estate goals. Whether you're moving to Chicago for a relocation, or maybe you're just moving around in Chicago, our team would love to talk to you and put together a real estate strategy for you. So feel free to just text the number on the screen, and a team member or myself will get in touch within 24 hours. Lastly, if you want to subscribe to a free bi-weekly newsletter, we send it out every 2 weeks. You can unsubscribe at any time. It's just about all things Chicago to keep you in the know if you're not quite ready to reach out to our team to start the buying or selling process. All right, let's get into it. All right, so now you're looking at my computer screen. You're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. And so I'm just gonna give you the raw data, and then I'm gonna help kind of synthesize this and summarize this as we go. And so we have looked at this data just to set the tone. We're looking at 60614, which is Lincoln Park specifically. So this is not a all Chicago real estate market update. This is a Lincoln Park, Chicago neighborhood update. And so we're gonna first look at detached single family homes. And so detached single families are going to be your single family homes, not your condos, your townhomes. These are standalone fee simple homes. And so the first thing we wanna do is make sure that that is checked, which it is. We're looking at new construction and resale combined data, not just new construction or not just resale, traditional sales, all sizes, all bedrooms, all of that being constant. So I'm gonna move my face up here. We're not gonna look at all these if you look at the bottom here where my mouse is, but we're gonna pull out about 5 or 6 of these different data points, and then I'll kind of explain to you kind of what that means for you as a buyer or a seller in the market. And so the first thing we wanna look at is, and this is over a 3-year trend line, right? So on the far left side here is January of 2022, far right side is September 2025, which is our last full month of data for 2025. And so this is a rolling, so basically the numbers you see over here, this 12.9%, that's year over year. So basically from September of 2024 to September of 2025, this is the change for this specific data point, which happens to be sales price. So let's start with the sales price and we can go from there. So for single family homes in Lincoln Park, the average sales price, there's a difference between average and median. Think about average as basically adding up every single sale and then dividing it by the number of sales. Median is basically plotting all the different sales on a line, getting rid of the outliers, and then you're basically the very middle number. So this is kind of where the most concentration is of data points and sale prices. It's going to be the middle number, not necessarily the average of all. And so, but first off, sales price, I like to look at both, and it happens to tell a similar story. So average sales price for Lincoln Park single family homes, year over year is up 13%, putting the average sale price at just under 2.5 million in Lincoln Park. So obviously the single family home market in Chicago in Lincoln Park is quite going to cost you quite the price tag, but that's just the type of market it is for single families. And a lot of the clients we work with are not necessarily buying them, but some of them are, but most are buying condos, townhomes, and things like that. So we'll get into that after we go through the single families, but 12.9%, so up pretty significantly year over year. And then as we move into the next data point, we'll take a look at the median. So the median, again, the middle number is actually up even more, so 15.6%, but it's putting the median sales price a little lower at $2,075,000, so almost 2.1 million. So I actually tend to like median sales price a little better than average. So if you're gonna take that into consideration, well, year over year, home prices are up 15.6%, which is a huge number. So the next thing we want to look at is we want to look at market time. How long are properties sitting on the market from the time they go to the market to the time they go under contract? Again, average and median here. And you can see this one, you see a little bit of some changes, but overall, homes are sitting on the market an average of 23.4% less time than this time last year. So homes are selling much faster. So if you go and find that data point from last year of September of 2024, you had 94 days as your average market time. This past September 2025, last month, it was 72 days. So almost a quarter. Homes are selling basically a quarter faster than they were last year. The next thing we want to look at, if we look at median for market time, this is actually even more significant. This is basically saying that homes are selling 55.9% faster than last year. So basically homes are selling twice as fast, essentially. So that is a big data point. So, sales prices are up, homes are selling faster. Those are the first kind of summaries that we can take away from this data. Another one I like is percent last list closed. So this is the last price that it was listed on the market to the actual close price after it goes under contract, goes through the inspections and the whole process. You're looking at average last list of 99.3%. So basically, this is up 1.7%. So last year, homes were selling very much near the last list price, about 96, 97%. Right now, they're basically selling at full ask, if not higher than that, because average is 99.3, but the median is 98.8. So people have a little bit of room, from the original list price to the closing, but overall, it's up year over year. And so homes are selling even closer to what they're being listed for, is what this data point is telling you. So the next thing we want to look at is we want to look at month supply. And this is basically stands for month supply of inventory. So this is another way to say absorption rate. And so this is basically saying that right now there's 2.3 months of inventory. So if we took all the single family homes within this data set in Lincoln Park right now, and we basically cut off all new supply of homes, the amount of homes and all the homes on the market would take roughly 2.3 months to sell through for all of them to go under contract and to close. And that is basically almost double as fast as this time last year at 43.9%. And so not a lot of inventory. Market is moving very quickly for single family homes in Lincoln Park. Number of homes for sale, 37 right now in September of 2025, which is down 33.9%, almost 34%. So there's less homes for sale in the market than this time last year. So inventory is even tighter and the demand is actually even stronger. New listings, 294, down 21.6%. So almost 22% less new listings came to the market in September of 2025 versus September of 2024. And as you can see, based on the other data, the homes that are coming to the market, they're being absorbed and eaten up really, really quickly. So it's very competitive for single family homes in Lincoln Park. A lot of this reasoning is people want more space, they want privacy, they want good school districts, and they want, kind of a little bit more of that piece of ownership without having neighbors and being, having to share walls and different things like that. So the single family home, if you can afford it, is where a lot of people are really looking to a Lincoln Park in order to take care of their family. Closed sales year over year is actually up 20%. So 210 closed sales in September compared to 20% less than that in September of 2024. And then the last thing that we're going to take a look at is the shows to contract. So this is basically how many showings does it take from the time something comes to the market to the time it goes under contract. You see your median here is 7 days. So basically, 7 showings. So 7 showings is what it takes to secure a buyer that ultimately goes under contract and then gets to the closing table. So that basically sums it up for single family homes in Lincoln Park. And so as I mentioned before, people are really desiring single family homes for that privacy, for the good school districts, for the ability to have more space. A lot of these single family homes are, 3,000, 35, even over 4,000 square feet in good school districts and one of the best areas in Chicago. And so this is the reason that this market remains very competitive. So if you're a buyer in this market, you need to come prepared. You need to make sure you have your pre-approval or your proof of funds ready to go. You have a real estate agent and hopefully their partners, like their attorney and maybe a lender, so that you can make sure that you present your offer in the best light and in the most competitive way when it comes to bidding and negotiating on single family homes in Lincoln Park. And as a seller, well, you have all the cards tipped in your favor. It doesn't mean that you can sloppily put your property on the market and it can sell crazy price, but if you have a turnkey, great condition home in a really good location within Lincoln Park, you can expect to sell pretty fast. But obviously marketing matters, positioning matters, pricing matters, and so you need to make sure you're talking to your real estate agent and you're putting together that bulletproof plan and strategy to make sure you get the most amount of money in the quickest period of time, or in the amount of time and with the terms that matter to you most. And so now that we've talked about single family homes, we're gonna go take a look at condos and townhomes, and we're gonna look at some of the similar data. So let's jump back in. All right, now we're over looking at the attached single families, and these are basically condos, townhomes. So still a seller's market, just like the single family homes, not quite as aggressively as the single family homes. That is a market that's more competitive right now than the condos, but the condo market still is what we refer to as a seller's market, ultimately meaning there's less inventory than there is demand, which is making homes sell fast and them to sell at higher prices. And so average sales price year over year from this time last year was $762,000, almost $763,000, which is up just shy of 12% year over year. And so homes are selling for 12% more based on the average, and then based on the median, which we talked about before, the median sales price is $665,000, which is up 6.5% year over year. Market time, we're seeing 8 days on the market, which is just, sub $1 million is pretty much what all this is going to be for the most part. And I would say this market is actually like moving the fastest, with the median being at 8 days and the average being at 37. So still basically within a month, if you're lucky, homes are selling in a week, I guess lucky if you're a seller, and maybe not as lucky if you're a buyer. But 37 average days, median is 8 days. I like the median on the market time too, because it kind of gets rid of the outliers. So the ones that have sat on the market for a year because they're just grossly overpriced or whatever the reasoning, and also the ones that are just selling super, super fast. This gives you that kind of that middle number where the largest concentration is. But still, homes are selling basically 27% faster than this time last year. Percent last list to closed for condos, the average is 101.1%. So 1.1%, almost 1.2% over asking price. So you're a buyer, you need to know this statistic that most properties are selling for more than what they're actually listed for. And so if you're making a full ass offer, it might not be the best offer because people are expecting more than where they're listing their homes. And so median last list to close is 100%. People are getting full ask offers. You need to be competitive. You're likely going to run into multiple offers if you're a buyer, and this is just something you need to be prepared for. Next up, we're going to go to month supply of inventory, 1 month supply of inventory. So market's moving super quick for this condo market in Lincoln Park, because it's more affordable obviously than single family homes, and Lincoln Park is a very desirable area in Chicago. So 37.5%. Basically less supply. So that would only take 1 month for all the homes on the market right now to go under contract and sell, which is just an extreme buyer's market, an extreme seller's market. Anything under about 4 to 5 months of inventory is considered a seller's market. So 1 month is just extreme seller's market. Homes for sale from this time to last year is 30% less homes, 29.9%. There was 94 homes the month of September, and then new listings, basically 11.3% less as well. So you had 1,434 homes that came to the market in September of 2025, which is 11.3% less than September of 2024. Closed sales is up 5.8%, which is also kind of parallel to the single family home. So less listings coming to the market, but more overall closed sales, almost 6% more than this time last year. And then the last one shows per listing 5.7. And so it takes almost 6 showings for a property to go under contract. Both of these are competitive, whether you're a single family home buyer or a condo or townhome buyer in Lincoln Park. make sure you are figuring out how to be competitive and write the strongest offer possible. Multiple offers are still the thing. It is definitely still a seller's market. Yeah, some properties, if they're not in great condition or they're not kind of turnkey, they are sitting on the market longer. But if you have a great turnkey product that you're bidding on, or a home, I should say, whether it's a single family or a condo, expect there to be other buyers trying to get that same home. And so that wraps it up for the Chicago real estate market fall market update for the Lincoln Park neighborhood in Chicago. As you guys know, Lincoln Park is one of my favorite neighborhoods, and obviously the data shows it's a favorite amongst a lot of others as well. It's one of the most coveted neighborhoods. So as a buyer, you now know you need to come into this market with the right expectations that there's very low inventory and a lot of demand. Even though demand is starting to wane a little bit, it just is still far outpacing the amount of active inventory that we have in the market. And so you need to make sure you have your good team in place with your real estate agent. Be prepared, have the information you need far ahead of time so that you can go into this market and make competitive offers to hopefully secure your dream home. And as a seller, you need to strategize and put together a bulletproof plan with your real estate agent. Our team is obviously here to help. If you need to reach out, feel free to just text the number on the screen, and we can definitely set up a time to come and see your property and talk about what is actually going to move your property today in the current real estate market in 2025. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share this with a friend. And we'll see you on the next video. All right, peace.